Hello, my name is Aloy Sherlock, and I've got a great video for you today. How you can sound like your favorite composer. And the composer today, Wagner, one of my favorite composer, serious type of stuff. We're going to listen to a short demo, and then after that, I'm going to pull up one of his scores, pull it apart, see how did he do this, so then that way you can do it too. Here we go. Places, everyone, places. This is a Wagner sketch, very expressive, very sustained. Timpani, please use your soft mouths. Very nice, very nice. Thank you, thank you. You know, that orchestra just keeps on getting better and better and better. The sounds I use, or the samples I use, are from VSL. They're VI series, they're Synchron series, or they're Big Bang series. I mesh them all together like a stew thrown through Mirror Pro 3D, and out comes this wonderful sound. What a joy it is to be able to play and have a full orchestra underneath your fingertips. As I went through this, I started thinking, you're my favorite composer, and I chose Wagner. I said, well, we need a basis. We need something to be able to work from. So I got his Faust score. And you start thinking, what was his mood? What was his thought process? Well, with Faust is a story about a man who sells his soul to the devil in return for the things that he wants or the things that he thinks he wants at that time. And then, of course, the story goes on. So it's a very somber, it's a very expressive sound that you're getting out of it. And one, you get inspiration. Two, you get so much knowledge from looking at the instrumentation, how he put this together. So it makes you sound better. The more knowledge that you have, the better your mock-ups are going to be. Wagner was a big proponent of chromaticism, where notes are going down chromatically, and over that you have this soaring melody. Truly beautiful stuff. We know him now for operas, but he didn't call that. He didn't call them that. He called them musical dramas. He liked that, musical dramas. He didn't write any chamber music. All of his stuff is on the large canvas, big orchestration type of stuff. we're going to take the first couple of pages of the score and we're going to look at it. I'm not copying what he did as far as the note-wise, but I'm taking the instrumentation that he used and then I'm bringing it to life. Here we are inside of my DAW, and I've pulled up the Faust Overture here, and we're looking at page one. The first thing we want to do is we want to set up the score. So then that way we're mimicking what he has. And on here we have our flutes on the top. We have our oboes, clarinets, our bassoons, our different horns, trumpets, trombones, a bass tuba, a timpani, and then we have our string section. Violins 1, violins 2, violas, cellos, and basses down here at the bottom. He had given us the words sehr gehalten. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, which means very sustained. So when we have the timpani playing on the bottom, they're using the soft mallets. They're using the soft mallets, and then the bass tuba and the contrabass, as we're looking in here, they come in together. And as they come in together, they're played in octaves. So I went into Divisimate here, and I've made it so I've got my tuba here, and then I have my bass. But when I'm playing it, so I'm playing one finger, one note at a time, and I'm transposing minus 12 notes. So it then comes out and sounds just like this. And when you start listening to that, you say, well, now all of a sudden I'm getting these other ideas. What if I go ahead and I use this same combination and I want to have a staccato sound? What does that start sounding like? So you go ahead and click here on my lower keyboard, because I have everything done on key switches. And all of a sudden now I got this. It's this big, huge sound that gives you, well, it gives you inspiration for your own work. Next, we have the cellos down here, and then that is being answered with the violas. And then on top of that, we have the bassoons. I have two bassoons here and a contrabassoon. And those are being combined. I've combined that. So over here on this score, we have the cellos, the violas, and then we have the bassoons playing in a triad. And the sound is just like this. It's such a sweet sound. And from here I've learned that when you've got those triads playing on the bottom and you put the cello, you put the viola on top, it just sounds so beautiful. Now, finishing off page 1 of the score, we have the horns coming in. So I took a little bit of liberty here. I looked a little bit ahead, and on page 2, I start to see all the chromaticism that's starting to go on here. And so then I took the horn and I said, I'm going to give this a shifting tonal center. So it's going to be preparing from one scene to another scene, getting ready for the strings to come in. So it sounds just like this here. Let's pull this. There we go. Just two notes, but those two notes are heralding a change. There we go with that portion. The next section, or the last section that I put together, because this could go on forever, and so I had to have an ending someplace. The next section brings in the strings, violins 1 and violins 2. And as I started looking at the score, I started noticing all the chromaticism that's going on here. So I started putting together a melody that had that with it. But then I said, well, what's going on top? As I looked on what's going on top, I said, we got woodwinds here. And I said, this woodwinds are very odd because you've got the two flutes and then you've got the oboe here. And they're playing two notes together. And normally you would go, that sounds awful. And so I started playing it, and all of a sudden I realized the beauty of it while you're playing chromatically. So the combination of the chromaticism going on with the violins and with the woodwinds together, it just blends so beautifully. And I've never done that with my own orchestration. And I highly recommend that you try this out. Listen to how just these instruments sound. Then I've added the horn in the bottom. Just gorgeous. Just so gorgeous. I never would have done that. But by studying the score, and I've only looked at 4 pages, I can only imagine if I would have continued what I would learn. So, we come to the end of this here. And I highly recommend that whoever your favorite composer is, pull out one of his scores and then use that for your inspiration. And it'll open up all of these ideas. And then the instruments, how they're put together, well, your music's just going to sound the better for it. Once again, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. God bless. Take care. And I'm going to play this one more time so you'll see what's going on with all of the instruments here. All right, you gotten this far, I'm going to give you a bonus. At the end of the Wagner sketch, I have violins 1, violins 2 playing together. So it sounds like this. So on and so on. Now, here's where I'm going to give you some tips. Let's go ahead, let's peel away the PDF here, my score. And I use Divisimate, but sometimes Divisimate gets really power hungry because I'm using so much of my samples. So down here, I group. The strings, whether it's the chamber strings or whether it's the orchestra strings, the woodwinds, the horns, the voices. So then that way, when I'm trying to put together a chord or whatever I'm doing, sometimes the CPU it'll go nuts. And this here helps that, so I'm able just to use that particular group. Okay, that's partial. The next portion is that inside of here, Divisimate, when I go into the orchestrate tab here, I have just the violins, violins 1, violins 2. Then I'm using, for first violins, I'm using the Synchron. I'm using the Synchron Pro violins 1. And I'm switching back with my foot. Through the vibratos and the multo vibrato. That is working in combination with the Appassionata. So I've got the Appassionata that's working with violins 1. And then in violins 2, I'm using the VI series, and I'm using the orchestral violins in combination with the Synchron Pro violins 2. And when you put them all together, you get this richness that is just, it's beautiful, just beautiful. However, now, we're playing an adagio, very slow, very slow. So I don't want my attacks to come right in. I want them to slowly come in. So then, under my attacks here, I'm having that so I can then adjust that. By adjusting it, that then allows you to have your strings come in slowly. Powerful stuff. Once again, thank you for listening. God bless. Take care. Until the next video.